This morning, a 71-year-old man passed away. His name may not be known to you. His story may never make the headlines. But his life and his passing hold lessons that each of us must take to heart. Because whether we acknowledge it or not, time moves forward, and our lives are shaped by the choices we make, the relationships we nurture, and the regrets we leave behind. So today, let's take a moment to reflect, not on death itself, but on the life we are living right now. Have you ever felt like time is slipping away from you? Like the years have passed so quickly that you barely recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror? Maybe you've been working hard your whole life, only to realize that the things you once dreamed of are still waiting on the shelf, untouched, collecting dust. Maybe you've sacrificed your happiness, your health, or your dreams for others, believing that one day there will be time for you. But what if that time never comes? This man, like so many others, probably had plans. He had things he wanted to do, places he wanted to see, people he wished he had spoken to more often. But life has a way of moving forward whether we are ready or not. And in the end, we are left with one question: did we truly live? Let's talk about regret, because nothing is heavier than carrying the weight of things left unsaid, dreams left unrealized, and moments that slipped through our fingers. Maybe he regretted not taking care of his health earlier. Maybe he wished he had spent more time with family instead of worrying about work. Maybe he held grudges that no longer mattered. Or maybe he let fear stop him from chasing the things he truly wanted. And maybe, just maybe, he thought he had more time. But here's the truth: time is never guaranteed. And yet, too many of us live as if we have forever. We put off the things that matter. We say, one day. We convince ourselves that we are too old, too tired, too set in our ways to change. But none of that is true. Right now, at this moment, you have the power to make different choices, to live with more purpose, to love more deeply, to prioritize what truly matters, to stop waiting and start living. What are you waiting for? A sign? A perfect moment? A guarantee that everything will work out? If so, let me tell you something. The only guarantee in life is this moment, right now, and what you do with it is up to you. If you've been neglecting your health, start taking small steps today. This line acknowledges that many people put their health on the back burner, whether due to a busy schedule, lack of motivation, or simply because they haven't felt the urgency to prioritize it. It emphasizes the idea that change does not have to be drastic. Small steps, like drinking more water, taking a short walk, or making better food choices, can create momentum toward a healthier life. It subtly encourages action without overwhelming the reader, reinforcing that it's never too late to start improving one's well-being. If you've been carrying anger, let it go before it hardens into something you can never undo. This part focuses on the emotional burden of holding onto resentment, pain, or past wrongs. The imagery of anger hardening suggests that the longer it is held, the more difficult it becomes to release. It implies that anger, if left unchecked, can transform into something permanent like bitterness, regret, or a grudge that damages relationships beyond repair. The phrase "before it hardens" serves as a warning, urging the reader to take control of their emotions before they become a defining aspect of their life. If you've been waiting to reconnect with someone, make the call. This statement highlights the common tendency to postpone meaningful connections, often out of fear, pride, or uncertainty about how the other person might respond. The simplicity of "make the call" suggests that reaching out does not have to be complicated. A single action, a phone call, text, or visit can bridge the gap that time or conflict may have created. It subtly reminds a reader that life is short and opportunities to reconnect should not be wasted. If you've been holding yourself back out of fear, Push forward anyway. Here, the focus shifts to personal limitations and the way fear can keep people from pursuing their dreams, goals, or even happiness. The phrase, push forward anyway, is particularly powerful because it acknowledges that fear will still be present, but it should not be allowed to dictate one's actions. It conveys resilience and determination, encouraging the reader to act despite uncertainty. You don't need permission to live your life fully. This line challenges the mindset that one must wait for approval, the perfect moment, or external validation before fully embracing life. It dismantles the notion that others have the power to dictate one's happiness, reinforcing the idea that fulfillment is a personal decision. It empowers the reader to take ownership of their choices and pursue life on their own terms. You just need to decide that you will. The final line brings the message to a decisive conclusion. It reinforces personal agency and the idea that action begins with a choice. There's no secret formula, no waiting for the right time, only the decision to move forward. It serves as a call to action, leaving the reader with a sense of urgency and empowerment. The man who passed away this morning is not so different from you or me. He had dreams, struggles, joys, and regrets. And though we cannot change his story, we can change our own. Because today, we are here. Today, we have a choice. Today, we have a chance to live so fully, so openly, so purposefully that when our time does come, we leave not with regret, but with peace. Breaking down the passage. 1. The universal nature of human experience. The man who passed away this morning is not so different from you or me. The opening line immediately creates a sense of connection between the reader and the unnamed individual who has just died. It removes any sense of otherness between the deceased and the living, implying that death is not a distant concept meant for others, it is a shared destiny. This line prompts the reader to confront their own mortality, not as something to fear, but as something to acknowledge and understand. 2. A life once lived, he had dreams, struggles, joys, and regrets. Here, the passage paints a brief but powerful portrait of the man who has passed, without knowing any details about his life. We are reminded that he was a person just like us, filled with hopes, challenges, happiness, and mistakes. This line underscores the depth and complexity of every individual's life, reinforcing the idea that no one's journey is without its highs and lows. It also invites the reader to reflect on their own existence, recognizing the universal emotions that bind us all. 3. The finality of death and the power of the present. And though we cannot change his story, we can change our own. This statement marks a crucial shift from observation to action. It acknowledges that the past, especially the past of someone who has passed away, is unchangeable. However, it places emphasis on the living and their ability to still shape their fate. It serves as both a reminder and a call to action. While we may not have control over how much time we have left, we do have control over how we live the time we do have. 4. The gift of today. Because today, we are here. Today, we have a choice. The repetition of today emphasizes urgency and presence. It urges the reader to recognize the incredible gift of still being alive, of having another day, another moment. More importantly, it highlights that life is not just about existing, but about choosing how we exist. Every action, every word, every decision is an opportunity to define the kind of life we lead. 5. The invitation to live fully. Today, we have a chance to live so fully, so openly, so purposefully. This line carries an unmistakable sense of encouragement and empowerment. It suggests that life is meant to be embraced with courage, vulnerability, and intention. To live fully means to embrace each experience without holding back. To live openly means to allow love, connection, and honesty to guide our actions. To live purposefully means to align our lives with values, passions, and meaning. 6. The ultimate goal, a life without regret, that when our time does come, we leave not with regret, but with peace. The final sentiment serves as both a motivation and a warning. It suggests that the biggest tragedy is not death itself, but reaching the end of life with unresolved regrets. However, the passage offers hope, the possibility of reaching our final moments with a sense of fulfillment, satisfaction, and peace. The underlying message is clear. The way we live today determines how we will feel when our journey comes to an end. Overall meaning and impact. This passage is a powerful reminder that life is fleeting. But within that fleeting nature lies the opportunity for profound meaning. It urges the reader to not take time for granted, to make conscious choices that lead to fulfillment, and to embrace each day with the understanding that one day it will be our last. Rather than dwelling on fear, it shifts the focus toward action, encouraging us to live in a way that ensures we can face the end with peace rather than regret. It is a call to embrace life fully, to live authentically, and to make the most of the time we have. If today were your last day, would you be proud of how you lived? This question forces the reader to assess their past actions, decisions, and the way they have spent their time. It challenges them to consider whether they have lived with integrity, passion, and meaning. Have they pursued their dreams? Have they contributed something valuable to the world? Would you be at peace with the way you treated others? This question shifts the focus from personal achievements to interpersonal relationships. It encourages reflection on kindness, empathy, and respect. Have they treated their loved ones well? Have they been fair, forgiving, and compassionate toward others? Or are their regrets words left unspoken, apologies never given, or bridges burned? Would you feel that you had truly embraced the life you were given? Here, the passage asks the reader to consider whether they have truly lived, not merely existed. Have they taken risks, embraced opportunities, and made the most of their time? Or have they let fear, doubt, or routine hold them back from experiencing the fullness of life? These questions serve as a wake-up call. They highlight that if the answer to any of them is no, then something needs to change. However, rather than leaving the reader in a state of guilt or regret, the passage immediately shifts into an empowering and hopeful message. Let this be the moment you decide to change. Oh, the phrasing here is crucial. This moment signifies that transformation does not require waiting. Change can begin now, in an instant. It is not something to be postponed for another day, another year, or another stage of life. The next part dismantles the common excuses that people use to avoid change. Because you are not too old. It is not too late. Many people believe that their best years are behind them, that they have missed their chance to live fully, or that they are incapable of change. These lines directly counter that mindset, affirming that no matter one's age or past mistakes, transformation is still possible. Finally, the passage ends with an inspiring and motivational declaration. And the best of your life can still be ahead of you if you choose to make it so. This statement reinforces the idea that the future is not set in stone, is not dictated by age, circumstances, or past failures. Instead, is shaped by choice, by choosing to live with purpose, kindness, and courage. A person can create a future that is brighter and more fulfilling than anything that has come before. In essence, this passage is an urgent yet compassionate reminder that life is precious and fleeting. It encourages reflection but does not dwell on regret. Rather, it provides hope, motivation, and empowerment. It tells the reader that no matter what has happened in the past, they still have the power to make the rest of their life truly meaningful starting now. So choose. Choose to wake up each day with gratitude instead of resentment. Choose to love. Even when it's difficult, choose to let go of the past and move forward. Choose to live without waiting for permission. Choose to be the person who, at the end of it all, can say, I lived, I loved, and I have no regrets. 1. The power of choice. The passage begins with the simple yet profound word, choose. This word is repeated throughout, emphasizing that everything in life ultimately comes down to personal decisions. It suggests that no matter the circumstances, we have agency over how we respond. Life is not dictated solely by external events, but by how we interpret and react to them. 2. Gratitude over resentment. The first choice presented is to wake up with gratitude instead of resentment. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is lacking to what we have. It allows us to appreciate even the smallest joys in life. Resentment, on the other hand, traps us in a cycle of negativity. It weighs us down, making it difficult to move forward. By choosing gratitude, we free ourselves from the emotional burdens that resentment creates, fostering a mindset of peace and contentment. 3. Choosing to love. Even when it's difficult, love is not always easy. Relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, come with challenges. However, the passage suggests that love is a choice, not just a feeling. Choosing love means extending kindness even when it's undeserved. It means forgiveness, patience, and commitment. Love, when chosen in difficult moments, strengthens relationships and deepens connections. By making this choice, we open ourselves up to meaningful and lasting bonds rather than letting conflicts and hardships drive us apart. 4. Letting go of the past and moving forward. The past can be a heavy burden. Pain, mistakes, regrets, and losses can linger, preventing us from truly living in the present. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting, but rather releasing the emotional weight that holds us back. It is about forgiving not just others, but also ourselves. Moving forward allows us to embrace new opportunities, rather than being stuck in what once was. By making this choice, we reclaim our power and allow ourselves to grow. 5. Living without waiting for permission. So many people wait for external validation before they truly live. They wait for approval, for the right moment, for reassurance that they are making the right decisions. This passage challenges that mindset. It encourages us to live boldly, to follow our passions, and to stop seeking permission to be happy. It reminds us that life is too short to be dictated by fear or societal expectations. By choosing to live without waiting for permission, we embrace freedom and authenticity. 6. A life with no regrets. The final lines paint a picture of a person who has lived fully, loved deeply, and has no regrets. Regret often comes from choices not made, love not expressed, dreams not pursued. The passage inspires us to live in such a way that, when we reach the end of our lives, we can look back without sorrow or longing for what could have been. It's a message of empowerment and purpose. It challenges us to take control of our own happiness and fulfillment, to make the choices that lead to a life of meaning and joy. Final thoughts. This passage is both a motivational statement and a reminder of the incredible power we hold in shaping our own destiny. Every day, we are presented with choices, some small, some life-changing. This passage urges us to choose wisely so that when the final chapter of our life is written, we can look back and say with confidence, I lived, I loved, and I have no regrets.